Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners, macabre murders and captivating crimes from across the centuries, and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 223. 223.
Yes, that's what 223 is.
Yes, it is. How are you, Nick?
I'm fine.
Are you very well?
I'm very well.
Very, very chilled.
Yes, the chilled sofa again. I'm not sure if I... So this new sofa malarkey arrangement.
So we've started trying to record while sitting on the sofa. Normally we do it at a table.
Normally we do it in a much more formal situation.
Yes, because it is sort of businessy, but to business.
I'm not. Yes, I'm still undecided.
Well, you look very comfy where you are.
Yes, also I can't see my script though because my microphone's just there.
Well, maybe rearrange stuff slightly.
Yes.
Not your head. Move the script.
Look around.
He's got his computer in front of him. He's put it in the weirdest place possible.
Yep.
But it is quite comfy. I'm quite relaxed.
Oh, good for you.
Yes, but I'm the most important thing.
Well, that is the main thing, as long as you're relaxed.
Well, you gave me a cocktail, and now I'm just chilling. Any poisonings this week?
I don't believe so.
No?
No, well, it's only been a few days, so no, I'm going to say no.
Yes, full disclosure, people. We have recorded this episode a little bit more in advance than we normally do because Nick and I are about to go on holiday in the UK. We are slipping away with a couple of friends and we're going to be gathering some content while we're away. We're going to a very exciting location we've alluded to before, but keep your ears peeled and your eyes waxed for the new content that will be coming out as a result of our trip. But that's why we're recording in advance.
Yes.
No poisonings as a result.
No, it's been brief, so no.
You've not had a chance. You got all riled up. And
no,
then,
indeed.
Yeah.
Got all carried away, but no, nothing yet.
Well, speaking of being carried away and getting ready to run away, I think it's time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Indeed. So that's the wrong button. That's also the wrong button. Shit.
Turn off the porn, Nick.
Yeah, I know that was. I was just, oh God.
I don't think you're looking at the right porn if you go, oh God!
God. It was a surprise.
Surprise porn. Someone jumps out of a box.
Yes. Just naked. Ah!
Jump scare, jump porn.
It's all the same. It's great. Anyway, this week we must say thank you very much to Kendra Murphy.
To Cast Iron Katie.
And to Dawn Crilly. Thank you very much for joining us, you lovely people.
You lovely people. Those are our patrons. At the time of recording, there may be some more that have joined just before this episode comes out. We will get to you, we promise.
Indeed.
You shan't be forgotten.
Absolutely not.
We had fun on Patreon this week.
I'm sure we did.
I'm sure we did.
We haven't done it yet, but I'm sure we had a lovely time.
There's no way of hiding this, unfortunately.
Because it's all back to front.
No, it's all back to front. But rest assured, wonderful content has
sure it was a delight.
It was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
There is spooky stuff galore going on over on Patreon as it is October. If you want to know what the hell we're talking about, please do consider joining us on patreon.com/The Poisoner's Cabinet, where you get extra episodes from us every single week, as well as a raft of bonus material and also other extras depending on the tier that you join on. It's a wonderful community with lovely, lovely people on it, so do check us out, and it helps to support this show. Well, Nick, are you ready?
Yes.
To drink cocktails and talk about poison?
Yes.
Or we could drink poison and talk about cocktails?
Yes, let's do that too.
So just yes?
Just yes.
Okay,
yes, good. To anything.
Right.
I'm very open-minded at the moment.
Shall we go with the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
It's my new thing. I'm just say yes to everything.
Okay, good.
See what happens.
You're a positive man now.
Exactly. Bring it
right.
on.
Well, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yes.
Hooray, hooray, hooray. It is, this week, part 2 of Nick's story from last week.
See, it is, yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. This week's secret ingredient is...
You know very well what it is. You've seen it. Have you not deciphered it?
What is it, Nick?
It's a super secret code.
A super secret code.
A super secret code.
A special something.
A special super secret mystery code.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. No one knows what it is.
No one knows what it is.
No one knows what it is.
But it is a thing.
It is a thing.
It is a very specific collection of things.
It's a specific collection of things.
Of symbols.
So, obviously, everyone knows what this episode is about. This is part 2 of the Zodiac. Yeah. So there's no hiding it. It's in the subject title. So you know what's coming.
Despite Nick's best efforts.
I know, we try to keep it secret, but it is the code that will tell you who the Zodiac is.
Surely not.
This was published in the newspaper. My name is...
Ooh.
No one has yet deciphered it.
Well, we are opening it up to all of you, lovely Poisonous Cabinet listeners. Maybe you can decipher it. But of course, you'll have to get to the episode to find out why this code exists and to get all the super secret clues. But
There are no super secret clues. That's it.
don't say that.
Okay, no, there are lots of clues. You can only find out by listening to right to the very, very end.
There you go. I was building a sense of mystery, Nick.
Oh, the super secret code wasn't enough for you. You needed to add more mystery on a 50-year-old secret code that no one's broken.
Yes, maybe we have got hidden messages in this episode if you play it backwards. Okay, well, with this collection of symbols, this
Yes.
super secret code,
Super secret code, yes.
what have you come up with?
Well, I don't know. We are having a drink with no name.
What?
That's what it's called. It's called a drink with no name.
Is that what's actually called?
That's exactly what it's called.
Oh, right, okay. Have you... Is this a thing or have you lost
See?
your mind?
Look, it's
No,
a
don't
thing.
show me the-
You can't see the
No, I
ingredients.
can't see the
You
ingredients.
can
Oh,
see
it
the
is
name.
actually a thing,
It's actually
right.
called drink with no name.
A drink with no name. Okay, good.
Or a drink without a name. And we don't know, we don't have the name.
Well, we don't know what that collection of symbols means.
Exactly, but it's a name.
It's a super
But we don't
secret
know what
code.
the name is.
That's actually I'm very
See?
impressed. I'm very impressed.
All links clever.
Yes, but you didn't tell me this beforehand. You were just floundering for a while, and I thought you were going to continue floundering on the show.
Floundering.
In a flap.
How dare you?
Oh, you can get all high and mighty because that's what you were scanning
It
to
was
the last 2
all
seconds.
planned. Entirely planned out months in advance.
Marvellous. I think it is high time for us to slink into the Poisonous Cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So, Nick,
Yes.
the drink with no name.
Drink without a name.
Without a name.
I'm starting to slightly regret choosing this one.
Oh, God, why?
But based on your current level of insanity, I
Right.
think this could only go horrendously wrong.
It's not my episode, so it might sort of have the opposite effect.
Yes, you may be snoring and just passed out in a couple
I
of
could be
minutes.
snoring. I could be incredibly lucid and erudite, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, it looks very pale.
It does. I hesitate to say we should probably crack on because this one benefits from as cold as possible.
Oh, okay.
think.
It looks very, very pretty and pale. So, okay, let's do it then.
So yes.
All right. Well, down the hatch then. Down
chat,
one.
Chat in a second. No, not down in one. No.
All right then. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, hello. I share your worries, Nick. Oh, that is tasty.
It's good though.
Oh, God damn it.
It needs to be colder.
Does it?
I think so.
I think that's lovely and cold.
Yeah. But, it's nice and cold, but I think if you can get it colder, I think it'll be even better.
I can get it colder.
Get it colder. Get it colder. Put it back in the fridge. Put it in the
Just place
freezer.
it next to your heart. That is lovely. Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm worried. Is there absinthe in that?
No.
Is there not?
There's not.
There's something herbally twiggy something. Is there? Or am I just insane?
Could go either way.
My allergies have kicked in. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah. Okay, so what? Second sip. What is that? Oh, what is that? Is there fucking chartreuse in this?
Yes.
Oh. I'm putting it down in disgust. Now it's bitter and horrible on my tongue. It is nice.
See, you said it was a minute ago. It was nice.
Yes, and that was before I was lied to. Before a terrible betrayal had taken
There
place.
is 1/12 of an ounce.
Gaslighting.
Of
That's what I
chartreuse in
call
here.
1/12 of an ounce. Well, that's the perfect amount if you have to have it at all. I can fucking tell, though. I did guess. So the chartreuse.
It probably could be swapped out for a rinse of absinthe or something like that.
Yeah, it does have an absinthe feel. This does. So gin?
Nope.
No gin.
No gin.
Rum.
Nope.
Vodka. Lovely. Okay, vodka and chartreuse together at last.
Together at last.
Right. Anything else?
One more thing.
Something fruity?
Yes.
Treble sec.
Yes.
Hey! I guessed all the things.
You guessed all the things.
Yay! I'm afraid now. Okay. I mean, anything else? Like, is there bitters or like? Wow. All right. That's surprisingly okay.
That is 2 ounces of vodka,
Jesus.
a quarter of triple sec, and a 1/12 of chartreuse.
Which chartreuse?
Green.
Very full glass.
Well, and obviously you get the dilution. You get the water from the dilution of stirring. A lot of stirring with the ice.
Okay.
So you get a lot of dilution in there. But
Okay.
that's what's in there.
All right. I'm worried for our souls.
So It's 2¼ ounces is that drink, plus the water. But it is obviously just pure booze.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like a martini.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
That's usually
when I have.
Absolutely.
That's usually when I have vodka.
Yeah.
And nice.
Yeah, I think it's really
Nice.
pleasant.
I can't deny it.
I probably wouldn't have more than one because I would be on the floor.
Oh God, no!
I think,
No.
I mean, I'm finishing this and I'm already worried about trying to stand up later.
I will give it to you, Nick. That is surprisingly nice
Yeah.
with the chartreuse, with the tiny hint of the green chartreuse. Could definitely tell it's there.
Oh, you can definitely tell it's there. But I'm surprised you can from such a tiny amount.
Yes, well, I can tell. I can tell from the evil.
So,
It's
yeah.
only a drop of evil, so it's fine. It's not full Antichrist.
No, it's only a drop of evil.
No, it's Damien as a baby. That's what it is.
Perhaps that's its new name. No, we've gone from a drink with no name to a drop of evil.
Oh my God! That's so good.
It's a good name
And
for a
it's
drink.
quite apt for the Zodiac Killer. To be honest, that's made me feel a bit more awake and a bit more kind of shocked.
I mean, it's certainly got some oomph behind
It's
it.
got honestly, martinis. I can drink. I can't drink a lot of martinis, but sometimes I'll have a really cold, dry martini,
Yeah, or just a one.
and I do find it's very kind of sparky, like hello, rather than.
Oh no, yeah. Oh yeah, the one does that. Two goes. But one
Give me
will get
one martini. I'll be teaching some French.
one will get your brain going.
Give me two martinis. I'll be dead on a bench. See, one martini, one. Well, it's not a martini, but one of these.
Genius lyrics
Brilliant.
coming out.
I'm spitting lyrics.
I mean,
mate.
it's flowing. It really
Absolutely
is.
flowing. I think it's very important that I hand over to you shortly. Though, no, I feel great. Thank you for making that.
Oh,
if it had
Christ.
been whiskey based, we've been absolutely knackered here. Wonderful. So the drink without a name
Drink without a name.
is a resounding success,
Yeah.
guys. It has chartreuse in it, and I cannot deny it works. Well, with this drink in hand,
Yes,
is it time for a story,
it
Nick?
probably should be.
Is it time for part 2 of the Zodiac Killer?
We are indeed back with our part 2 of our deep dive into Mr. Zodiac.
And it warrants it.
I think you do. I think you do indeed.
Very
Now-
good reactions to your episode last week. Well done.
Yes. No, so it doesn't really go without saying. If you haven't listened to part 1, then do press pause and go listen to part 1. Because
Okay.
otherwise this will make no sense of what's going on, really. So as we left it last week, we have been through the murders, or the attempted murders, of college students David Faraday and Betty Jensen on the 20th of December 1968, Michael McGow and Darlene Ferrin on the 4th of July 69, then we had Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepherd on the 27th of September, and finally Paul Stein, who was killed in his cab on the 11th of October.
Yes.
We also spoke about some of the letters and the coded messages that the Zodiac has sent into California newspapers. So from there, on the 8th of November, another encoded message was sent into the San Francisco Press.
Okay.
Then on the following day, a corresponding 7-page letter arrived at the same publications. Now, in this letter, the Zodiac confirmed that minutes after Paul Stein's, the cab driver's, death, 2 police officers had indeed stopped him in the street and spoken to him and let him go. So do you remember that from last
Yes, I do.
week? Officers stopped this man asking if he had seen anything.
yeah.
Turns out that all likelihood that was indeed the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
So yes, he confirms it in this letter that yes, he was stopped by police officers, had a nice chat, and
good
off he
God.
go. Again, in his letter, he claimed that he would blow up a school bus, which is a bit of a recurring theme with him and his letters. And he goes on to claim that the police, of course, will never catch him. He has been far, far, far too clever. So, yeah, he is never going to get caught.
So taunting letter revealing enough information that the public wouldn't know?
I think enough information that proves that, yes, this is from the killer. Huge taunt and exposing the police for, what he sees as their failures to catch him.
Yeah, you would take 7 pages to detail. But
Yes. I think that's, exactly.
most of it was just ha 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 ha.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, excerpts from this letter, not the full thing, but excerpts from the letter are published along with this news cipher in the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, unlike, remember the first code that he published, there's a lovely little couple who it took them 4 days to crack this code.
We're picturing them as a little old
We
couple.
are indeed, yeah. They're probably in their 20s or something. But we're,
Young and sprightly,
Yeah.
out smoking cigarettes, drinking martinis, and solving
in my
ciphers.
head, they're sort of like on the Sunday doing the crossword together type thing.
Saying the lover's gone from our marriage, and that's it.
But it took them 4 days to sort of crack that code.
Love it.
This new cipher that's now been printed is obviously based on some sort of different sort of encryption or some such, and this code becomes known as Z340. There are 340 characters in this code, Z for Zodiac presumably, and it takes 51 years
Wow.
to crack this code.
Huh.
It's not until December 2020 that there's an international team. We've got an American software engineer, an Australian mathematician, and a Belgian computer programmer.
Together
Between
at last.
them, they finally break this code. I'm say 51 years later.
Oh my god. I have questions, but carry on.
Okay. Now this message reads, "I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show." Do you remember
Yes,
the man who
person
phoned
called
in?
Sam.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this wasn't me on the TV show. Bringing up a point about me, I'm not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. Because now I have enough slaves to worry for me when everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise. So they are afraid of death. So do you remember his thing of
Yes.
killing was to give him servants and slaves in the afterlife?
Which is very strange. It's
very
very
peculiar
kind of,
thing.
it's a very flip on the idea of in different religions and different cultures is that you will be greeted with, with virgins and
Yes.
everything when you go to the beyond, and
You'll
you
be
will
looked
have some
after
helpers.
and have a lovely time.
Yes, but
so-
killing these people would give them slaves.
So yeah, he is under the impression that all his victims will be slaves for him in the afterlife.
It is very strange, this dynamic behind these messages. It's a very kind of, I'm going to taunt you, but I'm happy to go to my grave,
Yes,
allegedly.
yeah, indeed. And so he goes on to say, "I'm not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise because he has all these servants to do for him, these slaves that he has taken there with him." So that is the body of that message. Again, say spelling mistakes and is all over the place, but the decryption was confirmed by the FBI. But unfortunately, again, it gives them nothing to go on in terms of identification or anything like that. It's just this rambling about his ideology,
But that's what sold in 2020.
and that's what solved in 2020.
Wow.
Now, there has never really been a consensus on how many victims the Zodiac actually took, or indeed how long his spree went on for. At the very minimum, it's the 7 we've spoken about in last week's episode. Those are sort of the 7
The
canonical
canon.
sort
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
group that see everyone, authorities, all attribute to the Zodiac. But there are a huge number of others out there that people suspect, or even he in fact claimed in his various letters and things, but police are somewhat suspicious about is it not or whatever. And some people think that he actually started a hell of a lot earlier than the December 1968 murder that we know about. There was a murder in April of 1962 in Oceanside, California, where police received an anonymous phone call that said, "I'm going to pull something here in Oceanside and you'll never be able to figure it out." So
Okay.
again, this contacting the police and taunting the police. 2 days later, on the 11th, the body of another cab driver, Raymond Davis, was found in an alley in the city. He'd been shot multiple times. He had last been heard from the previous day when he had contacted his dispatcher and said he's taking a fare to South Oceanside. Last anyone heard of him. The next day, police found Raymond's body. The day after that, they received a further telephone call saying, "Do you remember me calling you last week and telling you that I was about to pull a real baffling crime? I killed the cab driver, and I'm going to get me a bus driver next week."
Jesus.
So again, there's this thing with cab drivers and this thing with buses as well. There seems to be a recurring theme of public transport.
It's a recurring theme alongside victims who have nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Well, this
Yeah.
is the cab driver. There's
There is
another
one cab driver, but there were also couples in cars.
couples of cars. And this is the second cab driver. So Paul Stein was a cab driver.
Yes, that's what I mean.
And then now this chap here is a cab driver. So now in theory,
he's obviously, yeah, okay. So in theory, he's got a thing for cab. Jesus, you downed that quickly. What's happening? In theory, cab drivers and referring to school buses.
yes.
But he's also got a thing for couples in
Yeah,
cars.
for young couples in cars.
Or couples on a date.
Oh yeah, couples on a date. So yeah,
He's got 2 things he likes.
apparently so.
Or does
Apparently
not
so.
like.
I mean, nothing like this had ever happened in Oceanside before.
Yeah.
So police went into a bit of a frenzy, really. They put armed guards on all city buses. They actually alerted, there's a couple of army bases nearby, and they alerted the army bases, and military police were put on army buses that shuffled personnel to and from from camps and things, but nothing ever occurred. There were no incidents that ever came of this. But the phoned-in message, the cab drivers, all leads later investigators to believe that this was an early example of the Zodiac's work. In June 1963, 18-year-old Robert Domingos and his fiancée, 17-year-old Linda Faye Edwards, were shot dead on a beach in Gavotia State Park, they'd skipped a day of school. Again, we're back to a couple having a lovely time on a beach.
Yeah.
So we've been there before as well.
Convenient though.
So this particular park or beach is popular with students and surfers, and Linda had told some friends that they were going to be spending the day there. But when the pair hadn't sort of returned the next morning, their parents started to get concerned, and they called the police, who found Robert's car at the beach. The couple's bodies were found in a rundown shack nearby. They'd been shot, they'd been on the beach, and then hidden away in this shack.
Different MO.
Yeah, different MO. But, wait for it, police theorise that their assailant had attempted to tie up his victims. But they had got loose and tried to make a run for it. The killer had then shot them repeatedly in the back as they fled. Robert had been shot 11 times and Linda 8.
Jesus.
The weapon used was the same style .22 caliber gun that had been used in confirmed Zodiac murders later. And the police found pre-cut lengths of cord, similar to the cord that had been used in later murders. The person who had brought these lengths of cord had been pre-cut. This is the same type of cord in expectation of tying these people up, and then they got away and they were shot in the back.
Yeah.
So there are certain similarities. Yeah. Now the hiding in the shack, absolutely, that's a very different thing. But there are other things there that gave
early, but then maybe changes his pattern later on.
There are definite similarities to Brian and Cecilia's death that people think, ooh, is this the Zodiac? Then we have on the 30th of October, 1966. Cherry Jo Bates. Now, she's an 18-year-old student. She spent the evening studying at the library. The next morning, her father discovers that she hasn't returned, and he reports her missing. Her body is discovered in an alley between two abandoned buildings on campus that have been marked for demolition. She had been stabbed to death. Initially, there seems to be not a lot to link Sherry's murder with the Zodiac. Mm-hmm. It's not until a month later, on the 29th of November, that two letters are mailed. One to the Riverside Police Department and the other to a local Riverside newspaper. Both these letters are titled The Confession. And again, claim responsibility for Sherry Bates' murder, give details that have not been made public, and the author warns that Bates is not the first and she will not be the last.
Yeah.
On there.
Chilling.
Days after these letters are received, a rather macabre poem is discovered, carved into the bottom side of a desk in the Riverside Library. So police are searching the library and they uncover this this carving. The poem is titled "Sick of Living, Unwilling to Die."
I've heard that phrase before.
I shan't read the poem because it's not very jolly, but it's out there if you want to. Now, it's later determined that the poem's language and is it the language and handwriting, but how you can tell handwriting from a carving in wood, I'm not entirely sure. But it resembles that of the Zodiac's letters.
Is that a bit of a reach?
Well, I think there's a definite reach on this one. There's a chap called Sherwood Morrill, who is California's top sort of document examiner. He's known to study, to question documents, and he becomes convinced the wording, the style, what have you, and this poem is written by the Zodiac compared to the letters and things that have been received. So he becomes convinced that yes, these two are entirely connected. I would say potentially questionable, but of course people leap on it and go, yes, absolutely, it must be him. Can't be anyone else.
The wording doesn't even seem in line from what little you have told me.
Indeed, yes.
Which is a lot.
I haven't gone into greater detail of that one, but
I know,
yes,
but from
I agree.
Sometimes from the perspective,
I agree. It is potentially something of something weird.
Reaching.
Let's just lump it all together because this horrible thing has happened, so let's just assume it's all part of the same thing. Then we have in 1967 Adina Martinez and Fermin Rodriguez.
Yes.
They're relaxing in their car on the roadside in Alameda County. A stranger approaches their car, shoots them both through the car windows, again using a .22 caliber weapon. The same has been used in multiple Zodiac attacks. Now, these murders have all happened before the Zodiac officially names himself. He's again say he is the one who has introduced himself as the Zodiac in 1969. And over the years, many investigators have become convinced that these are his work. These were his handiwork, although none have been officially linked as work of the Zodiac himself.
Yeah.
So it's still officially we just have those original 7. But depending on who you talk to, some are, some aren't. And there are various detectives and FBI agents and such like who will swear that these ones are, those ones aren't, and then someone else will say those ones aren't, but these ones are.
It's something we've encountered before
absolutely.
on the show where if you have a serial killer, suddenly they're going, and they're responsible for every crime that's ever been committed. They're definitely Jack the Ripper.
Yes, likely.
Ironically, Jack the Ripper himself, was that even one person? You know, you could argue that actually Jack the Ripper was 2 or 3 different people with the 5, but also all the other murders that happened around, all the other murders that were happening there, they go, no, it definitely wasn't that guy. Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you say that? What? Why and how?
I think it's probably likely that some are, some aren't, but you all will never know for sure.
Nick, that's a very non-committal
Well, it
way
is non-committal.
You know what? Know. Some are and some aren't.
Some are and some aren't.
Well, that was where we were in the first place.
Exactly. I'm just clarifying.
I like that. Nick's interpretation. You know what? Some are.
Some are. Some
aren't.
We won't know.
I like it.
Yeah, indeed. But he does continue with his writing as well as the murderings. He continues with his writing. We have a letter dated the 20th of April 1970, and it opens with "My name is," and
it's an early version of the Eminem song.
Yeah, with the code that now everyone out there has now broken thanks to the Poisonous Cabinet.
So that's the code.
So that's the code. My name is
this.
That then followed by that 13-character cipher.
Which could just be nonsense.
Could well be.
So that's never been cracked.
Well, many people claim that it says this, it says that. It has never been officially recognised. This is what it says. Yeah. Like some of the other ciphers have been confirmed by FBI, whoever has said that's what it is. Many people have come up with theories of what they think it says, of what they think this translation is, mainly to fit their own theory of who the Zodiac is.
Well, if one collection of symbols took 50 years to solve, they should be hot on the trail of that.
So we're hopefully any day now. But yeah, I mean, over the years, many people have claimed they know what it says, but none of them have ever really withstood serious sort of scrutiny and analysis.
I must write that down for later as well. But it's an interesting question about, like, would you... if you're doing these things, you have to think of the mind of a serial killer, and let's not. But would you be putting down something just to go, okay, this makes no sense, and waste time trying to solve it, or would you create the ultimate cipher that could be solved to go, this is my name, come get me?
Oh, I think you.
If you're that clever,
I think you would have. I think you would have a name.
Clearly, he was.
I don't know, but then in previous letters where he had written in English, he said, if you decipher this, it'll give you my identity. And people then had deciphered it, and it didn't.
Yes.
So he had sort of played those sort of tricks, I suppose, saying, yeah, you decipher this, it'll give you my identity, and it didn't.
You make a good point. Maybe it is just a two fingers up.
Exactly. It could be, I don't know, his favourite barbecue sauce recipe or something like that. or whatever.
I like it.
So, who knows? So, well, we really, really don't know.
That's a level on Barbecue Showdown we haven't gotten to, isn't it? They just hold up that symbol. One person walks off, I will make the sauce.
I will make this. And then we have another. This is actually a greeting card that was sent in on the 28th of April, so only a week or so after this last letter, and that's sent into the Chronicle, and it starts with, I hope you enjoy yourselves when I have my blast. Again, he's going on about bombs on buses and such like, and it's followed by his little circle cross icon. On the back of this card, again, he threatens to use the bus bomb soon, also stating that he wants to start seeing people wearing some nice Zodiac buttons.
It's very Axeman.
I mean, not enough serial killers do merch. I feel. So he's obviously.
Oh no, Nick, no.
That's what he's
But I
going
mean,
for.
yes, I mean, no,
He's-
nobody
got
do
a,
that.
He's got a good little catchy symbol,
He wants people to be.
and he
wearing
wants people to be
buttons.
wearing that on
Well,
buttons.
you are
and
literally at the
things.
time of the CND, so everyone is wearing buttons,
Everyone's
and
wearing
everyone
buttons.
is wearing kind of those sorts
Little
of things.
badges. So he's quite adamant that he wants people to see people out and about wearing these buttons.
Okay, so killing, but make it fashion.
But make it fashionable, exactly. Make it fashionable.
Yeah, it just reminded me of the Axeman as well. As in kind of, I want to hear hot jazz. I want to see people wearing my buttons. You're very weird.
Yeah, very weird. Definitely.
We
Definitely
already
go with that.
concluded this, but still, you keep being weird.
On the 19th of June in 1970, it was around 5:30 in the morning. 25-year-old police sergeant Richard Raddick is shot through the driver's side window of his squad car. And this is during a routine traffic stop. He is shot 3 times with a .38 caliber revolver, and he dies in hospital around 15 hours after the attack. Now again, initially authorities assume this is a traffic stop gone wrong, just a horrific shooting of a police officer on duty. However, 5 days later, a letter arrives again from the Zodiac. Now with this one, I mean, first of all, he despairs that people aren't wearing his Zodiac badges. Why aren't people wearing my lovely, lovely accessories? But he goes on to say, I shot a man sitting in a parked car with a .38. Was the Zodiac trying to lay claim to the murder of Sergeant Raddick? Some people are convinced, yes, absolutely, it was him. A lot of others seem to think that he's trying to take credit for something that he didn't do.
Which would be a really interesting.
So people think
slant.
that nothing has happened in the past sort of 6-9 months or so that has been definitively linked to the Zodiac, apart from him writing these letters and making these claims. And people are starting to think he's claiming responsibility for things that he hasn't done there to keep his name current and in the press, to keep people talking about him.
Which is a very interesting theory. Would you stop?
Well, that is the question. I mean, was it him? Indeed. So he lay claim to this murder. I mean, why would he stop just all of a sudden?
Why would he stop and then just spend his time writing into the newspapers unless if he's of that individual psyche that he is able to stop the compulsion to kill and then start just writing and fucking with the media and fucking with other people to be able to do that. That sounds like it's a stretch.
Yeah, but I mean, enough people in authority then are convinced that it's not him. And I mean, to this day, the murder of the sergeant remains unsolved, and they are absolutely adamant they will not officially link it with the Zodiac. Yeah. It's an entirely separate, unrelated case of a terrible unsolved murder.
Because you can imagine how many people would write in saying, I'm the Zodiac and I think that, and they could have copied, the letters have been printed by then. It's a very weird hobby to have. So.
I mean, it is a very weird hobby. I mean, alongside this letter where he lays claim to this, entirely separately, there is a corresponding roadmap of the San Francisco Bay Area that's included with this. So you've got a roadmap of the area. Now there's a Mount Diablo, which is very dramatic. I thought, is that real? I googled it. Okay, it is real. Mount Diablo.
Oh no, I've heard that in so many references of things. I don't know why. Oh, Mount Diablo. Don't go there.
Around San Francisco. And on top of this sort of mountain, this high point, he's drawn his cross in a circle symbol and written 0369, like at the cardinal points on there. The accompanying notes instruct that the 0 was to be set at mag N, so presumably magnetic north.
Yeah,
or something, we would think. And then there's another 32 character cipher. The Zodiac claims that if you decipher this in conjunction with the map, it would lead to the location of a bomb that he has buried that had been set to detonate in the fall. This cipher,
just autumn.
Well, yeah, in the autumn. So at some point in the autumn, he doesn't give a date.
At some point.
So at some point in the autumn, this bomb is going to go off. I mean, this cipher is never decoded. No one knows. A bomb did not go off. So again, at this point, people are starting to think:
Yeah.
is he more bark than bite? Yes, okay, he's done horrible things, but he's threatened enough time to blow up school buses, and then nothing has happened. He's now threatened this bomb to go off somewhere, and it hasn't. So has something happened that he's willing to make these threats and make these claims and claim responsibility, but actually he cannot carry out these things that he's attempting. So on the 7th of October, the Chronicle receives a little postcard, 3 by 5 inches, sewn by the Zodiac with his little symbol, and a small cross that looks like it's been drawn in blood. It's like some sort of red, splodgy sort of... now, in classic sort of serial killer trope, the card's message has been created by cutting words and letters out of the Chronicle.
Okay, nice.
And stuck onto this card. 13 holes have also been punched down the side of the card.
Okay.
And the 13 holes are... People think that it's the Zodiac is claiming 13 victims at this point.
Ooh.
Now
just 13.
Or just...
Is a spooky number.
Or he's just gone mad with a hole punch.
Sometimes you
just get carried away, punch, and then you go, crap, I've just done all that sticking. I can't be asked to do that again, so send it out as it is. Now, the card reads, "Dear editor, you'll hate me, but I've got to tell you, the pace isn't any slower. In fact, it's just one big 13th. So again, referencing the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them fought. It was horrible. P.S. Their reports. City police pig cops are closing in on me. FK, I'm a crackpot. What is the price tag now, Zodiac? I'm not quite sure what the FK is. But yeah, so this is on this card. And again, people think 13 punches, 13 in the message. He's now claiming 13 victims. At the end of October, another card is received at the Chronicle. Now, this one is directly mailed to the editor, a chap called Paul Avey. It's a Halloween card. So it's a commercially bought sort of Halloween card, and it's got a happy little skeleton on the front.
A happy little skeleton.
Happy little skeleton on the front. Inside, it says, "Peekaboo, you are doomed." And that's going to be unnerving. Again, signed Z, Zodiac symbol. Now, of course, this threat is taken quite seriously.
Okay,
it's the subject of a front-page story in the Chronicle. Avery himself starts carrying a gun. He refuses police protection.
Yeah.
But he starts going around armed. Other reporters at the Chronicle, they start wearing buttons saying, "I'm not Avery."
Avery's under the fucking bus isn't it? Like, why?
That's real gallows humour going on there. And I'm there for it.
It's gallows humour and also very much protecting having your own ass. What?
Yeah. A couple of weeks after receiving this card, he receives a further letter. Now, this one isn't signed by the Zodiac, signed Z or his little symbol, but it's a letter that highlights the similarities between the Zodiac's killings and the unsolved murder of Sherry Bates in Riverside 4 years earlier. And this is really the first time that those two cases are linked together. So Avery, he actually writes an article in the paper, connecting these murders and saying, well, has the Zodiac been going a lot longer than we had thought of? And this is one of the first times.
Is that a is
it a leap? Is it just a good story that's going to sell papers?
Is it the equivalent of a conspiracy theorist?
Is it exactly
back then going like, if you look at these things together, it could be.
It could well be.
Dagar was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. But very, very soon after this article is published, the Zodiac writes in. But this time he writes to the LA Times, not the Chronicle, the LA Times, where he commends police, rather than Paul Avery, of discovering what he terms his Riverside activity. So he is now, again, the Zodiac, now taking full credit for these murders, for Cherry Bates' murder up in Riverside. He goes on to say, but they are only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more down there.
Jesus.
Again, so he's there taking credit for a lot of murders that have only now been linked because an anonymous letter was sent in linking the murders.
But that's again, is it him?
Big up the reputation, or is it nothing him at all? Is it just a mad person in a bunker?
I don't see it.
No.
I don't. You know what killers do to get reputation? Kill people.
Kill well.
Yeah, I'd rather they didn't.
So yeah, I mean, so the actual connection between the Zodiac and the murder of Cherry Bates is much disputed, as it is here. The last letter from the Zodiac, purportedly from the Zodiac, is received by the Chronicle on the 29th of January 1974. And it's quite a rambly letter. The letter, it complains about the writing style of a particular columnist, praises the film The Exorcist, which had come out the year before, as the best satirical comedy that I've ever seen.
Yep, okay.
So it's there.
Bit worrying.
The letter concludes with a score. Me 37, SFPD 0.
Okay.
Zodiac has laid claim to 37 murders.
That person.
Whoever has written this letter has laid claim to 37 murders. We do not know which ones.
Yeah.
Which ones in particular? We probably never will. History, say, has gone a bit mad in making connections to any and all crimes that ever happened anywhere.
Yes.
as they do with these things. Some people have linked the Zodiac to another series of murders that took place in California around the same time. There, 12 young women were all killed between December 69 and July 72.
Yes.
The women are killed in a variety of ways, including strangulation, drowning, slit throat, bludgeoning. But these cases are all linked by the fact that the women's bodies are all found dumped in ravines. They are killed in conjunction with astrological events. So solstices, equinoxes, phases of the moon, movements of planets, they are all these deaths are linked to these events. And these killings become known as the astrological murders.
Right.
And many have come to believe that the man who named himself the Zodiac was likely responsible for those series of murders as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I have feelings about that.
So,
yeah.
So that's 12 just there. So we've barely scratched the surface, really, of what the Zodiac did, or claimed to have done, or people thought that he had did.
Thought
that he had maybe done, maybe at some point in some time. But did police ever get close to catching the man?
Yes.
Now, for nearly 50 years now, police and amateur sleuths have pored over records, scraps of paper, newspaper clippings, any evidence there is to try and identify the Zodiac. And no one has ever come close to making an arrest. People have suggested dozens, if not hundreds, of suspects, all based on random bits of circumstantial evidence and linked theories and sometimes just rampant speculation and guesswork. Some people point the finger at already infamous murderers. Ted Kaczynski, Unabomber, he was him. Dennis Rader, BTK killer, it was him. Indeed, members of the Manson family, it could have been them. More than a few people have sought their sort of 5 minutes of fame and written books claiming it was a relative. It was my father was the Zodiac, my aunt, my uncle, my cousin.
Well, very recently.
And exactly. From sort of going from
TikTok.
the 70s all the way up to present day, people are still writing these books claiming that their father, their grandfather, whoever was the Zodiac. One I hadn't heard of, but came up on a few of the sites that I was reading. Recently, there have been social media allegations that have arisen that Texas Senator Ted Cruz was the Zodiac.
So,
even though the first confirmed murders took place before he was born,
right?
But still, you never know.
You never know.
Social media has said it.
You never know. Stabby.
It's come up on the Facebook, and
you can't deny social media in these.
You can't deny social media in these places. So yeah, but there are some people who have stood out more than others.
Okay.
So we're going to have a look at a few of those.
Okay.
Before we get into that, we should probably have a drink face because I forgot.
Let's have a drink. Let's talk about suspects.
Let's talk about suspects.
Nick, we have our drinks.
We do.
We have our drinks a bit late.
A bit late.
Absolutely
we just rattling on through there and just
suspects.
So we've got a few suspects to talk about.
And also, I have notes.
Well, I'm glad.
Right.
So discussions need to be had.
Yes.
So we have a chap called Richard Gajkowski. Now, Gajkowski was a reporter who was living and working in San Francisco at the time of the murders.
Yes.
He strongly resembles some of the composite sketches that were put together and put out in the papers and such like. And because these were released, a number of people contacted the authorities going, that really looks like my neighbour. That really looks like my co-worker. And it's actually one of his co-workers who comes forward and gives this quite a detailed report to the authorities, accusing Kukowski of being the Zodiac, because yes, he is a spitting image of this composite, but also he says that Kukowski has often invited him to engage in violent acts. Now,
What?
Unfortunately, I do not know the specifics of what these violent acts were.
Okay, immediately sounds like bullshit.
yeah,
Sorry. Immediately
so-
sounds like someone going, well, he asked me to do violent acts.
To do
What were
violent
they?
things.
I don't know. Or are you trying to hint at something you really do not want people to know about? And also, that's probably not the Zodiac Killer. That is someone really worrying.
So, yeah. But
It went dark and light very quickly there. Sorry.
he makes these accusations. Also, I mean, his office is minutes away from two of the crime scenes. And he was recognised lurking around the background of Paul Stein's funeral. So Paul Stein, one of the cab drivers who was
There's
shot.
a lot that comes back to the cab driver.
Yeah. Now his sister was obviously attended her brother's funeral, and she recognises again from the papers and things, and she says that man was at my brother's funeral. Mm-hmm. He was there again, probably lurking in the copse of trees with an umbrella at the back, type thing, in a sort of suitably spooky way.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, at the time, there is nothing concrete to prove. Yeah, to take this any further than that. But he sort of has remained a person of interest for a number of years. In 2009, the History Channel are doing an episode on who is the Zodiac type thing. And they are interviewing all manner of people who were associated with the case. And they are able to obtain voice recordings from Richard Kukowski, and they play them to a woman called Nancy Slover. Now, she was the police dispatcher who had spoken to the Zodiac when he had called in after one of the murders.
Yes.
When he had called in to say, I've just killed people there.
Yeah.
She was the one who took the call and actually had a conversation with the Zodiac.
Okay, fair enough.
So these recordings are played back to her, and she says, yes, that is the voice at the end of the telephone. She was absolutely convinced that they were one in the same person. However, this was 40 years apart.
It's 40 years apart.
So
you're asking a woman.
Do you recognise this voice
hindsight,
from 40 years ago?
In hindsight,
yeah. So, of course, a lot of people go, "My God, it's him! It must be him! It must be him!"
Okay.
But can you really be sure? Can she really be sure?
Okay.
We don't know.
Well, we'll put that there.
We'll
put a pin in it.
Yeah, so indeed, pin in dear old Richard Kukowski. And then we have 2014. A chap called Gary Stewart publishes a book, The Most Dangerous Animals of All. Now, that's a reference to the original, one of the first letters from the Zodiac, in which he claims that his father, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac.
Ooh.
My dad's the killer. The main thrust of this argument, as they seem to be on many of them, is that he looks like the composite sketch that's been put together. He lived in California. Okay. He had a strong interest in ciphers and codes. He loved cracking codes and writing codes and such like.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, though.
Well, exactly. A lot of people could fit that description, indeed. Apparently, he knew a Satanist and a member of the Manson family.
Jesus.
So, I mean, that's scary enough, but...
Satanist, not so much. Manson family member, Jesus.
Because you knew someone. It
doesn't go into...
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean you are. And he doesn't go into, like... I don't know, he passed him in the street one day and went, hello. Or he went for tea every Tuesday. I don't know.
If they were having tea every Tuesday, it'd be kind of like, oh, interesting. How shall we commit murder? More cake.
There's also a thing which actually comes up with another suspect, which I realised I hadn't referenced, so I'll go through it briefly now, is that his father liked Gilbert and Sullivan.
I mean, as do I.
Now, the Gilbert, I've not referenced this previously. The Mikado is referenced in a couple of the Zodiac letters. The Zodiac actually references the Mikado.
Oh.
In some of his letters.
Did not know.
Yeah, indeed, because I sort of bypassed that and not realising.
Never bypass the Mikado around me. Because I love that.
So apparently in these letters he had a reference to Mikado, and also he actually came up with he had made a little list.
Right.
One of the letters.
Okay. I've got a little list. Right. Okay.
He's got a little list.
Okay.
So yeah. So there was definitely a Gilbert and Sullivan connection there.
The punishment fit the crime.
So obviously his father liked Gilbert and Sullivan. Therefore, I mean, obviously, he would. That's and then the Zodiac wrote about the Mikado in his letters. A definite link there.
Okay.
Stuart, he also claimed to have found his father's initials within the Zodiac ciphers.
If you're looking for something.
Well, precisely. If codes within codes within codes. If you're looking for something, you can fucking find it in a code. Yeah. Times everything by 3 and divided by M. Oh look, it's my name. So you can. So if you want it, you'll find it in that sort of thing. He got a professional document examiner, handwriting expert, who did say that the writing on Best's marriage certificate matches the Zodiac's.
Interesting.
So we have apparent match in handwriting. A love of Gilbert and Sullivan. They lived in the same place, and they liked codes.
Yep. Nope.
So, so you're not entirely convinced by that?
No, really
those connections.
No.
There, right? Okay. So on to the next one. So, Lawrence Kane. We now have a chap called Lawrence Kane. Now, he lived close against several of the crime scenes. He had spent time in the Naval Reserves, where he had studied codes and ciphers and encryption as part of his training. An amateur code breaker in the 1980s had identified his name in the magical code that we put out with the secret ingredient. Someone had actually come up with Kane. They translated 13 characters and got Kane out of it, and then now we have leapt to this is the man.
Right.
Forget the rest of the letters that are in the cipher. I found the bit I want.
That's just dressing.
That's exactly. That's all subterfuge. But because I found the bit I want. Sort of.
Again, you can fit anything to your theory.
Exactly.
Can't you? Yeah.
So you've got this. Darlene Ferrin's sister. So Darlene, one of the women who were killed in the parking lot.
Yes.
Her sister identifies a sketch of Lawrence as a man who had actually frequently bothered Darlene at her work.
Okay.
So she's seen this, but yes, this man was a known person to my sister. The San Francisco officer who likely saw the Zodiac after Paul Stein's murder also said that Lawrence Kane's photo was the closest likeness he had seen to the man he had spoken to that evening.
All right.
That's what we have on Lawrence Kane. Then we have Ross Sullivan. What about dear old Ross?
Oh, Ross.
Now, Ross is a suspect. Now, he came from the 1966 murder of Sherry Bates. So the potential link had been established in various newspaper articles and what have you. Ross Sullivan had been a suspect from the beginning of Sherry Bates's murder. He had worked at Riverside Library, the place she had been before she disappeared, and co-workers in general said he was a bit odd. He made them feel uncomfortable. They also said that he had disappeared for several days after Sherry's murder. He just hadn't turned up to work. He sported a crew cut and glasses similar to the composite sketch of the Zodiac. He wore an army jacket and military-style boots that were left footprints, like the footprints left at the Lake Berryessa stabbings. I mean, so you've got matching shoes.
Okay.
And people also point to the fact that the Zodiac letters mention the Mikado by Gilbert and Sullivan, and his name is Ross Sullivan.
Oh, fuck off. What?
So, an obvious link.
I'm just going, look at me. I'm doing this in this really convoluted opera way.
Right, okay, we're not going to find it's not him then, is it either? So, come on, God. Right, okay, so, I'm going to get you on the next one.
Right.
So, possibly the prime suspect.
Okay.
In the Zodiac killings.
Yes.
Arthur Lee Allen.
Oh, okay.
Now, he was questioned by the police in 1969 and again in 1971 after after one of his friends told authorities that Allen had often talked about wanting to kill people. Just in general conversation, he talked about wanting to kill people.
Not a general conversation. Anyone who says someone who said they wanted to kill people in general conversation should caveat that with in a terrifying conversation.
In a terrifying conversation.
Yeah, not just as in passing. For you, that's horrifying.
And thankfully, that person agreed and went to the police.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Also, apparently in this conversation, it came up that he wanted to secure a flashlight to a firearm.
Yeah.
So as the Zodiac seemed to have done when he was, shining his flashlight and shooting people. He wore a Zodiac brand watch.
Yes, I'd heard of the watch.
He wore a Zodiac brand watch. He owned the same caliber gun as had been used in one of the Zodiac shootings, as did many other people. And when police arrested him and searched his car, he told the police that the bloody knives were used for killing chickens.
Okay.
Now, whether that was ever tested, I do not know. But
well, I mean, you do kill them.
I mean, yes, people kill chickens.
It's just weird.
He had been less than honourably discharged from the Navy, and he had been fired from his school teaching job amid allegations of sexual misconduct.
Ew.
Which is not nice. He was ambidextrous, which some theorists say could have helped disguise his handwriting.
Interesting.
So, yes. Police investigated Allen again in 1991 after an informant who was facing an armed robbery charge said that Allen had boasted to him about killing a cab driver. And people went straight to sort of, the Paul Stein things.
Okay.
As strong as a suspect as he potentially may be, his fingerprints didn't match those that were found in Paul Stein's cab.
Yeah.
His palm print doesn't match the one found in the public phone box. His DNA does not match a profile. In 2002, they were able to create a DNA profile based on the saliva on envelopes.
Yeah.
That the police had kept in evidence. They created the DNA profile. It did not match. So all those things. Yes, he looked good for it, but no fingerprints, no palm match, no DNA. Do not match this man.
Yeah, so fuck off.
So go away.
I always feel like that with like suspects where later on they've gone DNA, that what we can do to match it, that no, it's been disproven. Well, fuck you, stop wasting my time.
Yeah. And that really appears to be all there is of just waste of time. Just many people suggesting people who probably are a big old waste of time. There are dozens of names out there. Dozens and dozens and dozens.
Yes.
But it is unlikely that we will ever know the true identity of the Zodiac.
Da, da, da.
Such drama.
Nick, for the Zodiac Killer. I mean, I have many questions.
Okay.
I have many questions. I will address one thing, though, that has become a viral sensation is a guy on TikTok who is claiming his grandfather was the Zodiac. Okay.
Right.
So far, so boring that, everyone has gone, oh, so-and-so has done this. It is a man who said his his grandfather is Richard Hoffman. Now, I have not watched all of his videos. It has gone viral multiple times. And so maybe there are people in there who have disproven this. But he goes into great detail because his grandfather was an ex-Vallejo police officer.
Ooh.
So he was present at some of the crime scenes. There are so many pointers, according to his monologue, that it was his grandfather. And the level of detail he goes into about why he is convinced his grandfather has since passed, otherwise he probably wouldn't be able to put out the video.
Yes.
It's another person going, I reckon this, I think this is his family. He has a lot of information, and there's a lot of uncanny evidence as well about the spelling that is used by his grandfather that aligns with the Zodiac letters, like the approved ones, because of all this misspelling and everything like that.
Yeah.
So just acknowledge that, because go and look at the series of videos.
Ooh, I'll have a look.
And I've only got so far on there, and this because it's been very recently. Literally, someone sent me and said, "Have you seen these videos?" And so now I've just been watching them in the short time I've had, and I've not gone through all of them. People are very passionate about it. This has gone viral millions of times. So go and have a look at them and share your opinion. Yeah, I mean, the Zodiac, it's got so many parallels with Jack the Ripper instantly. I'm just going to say it. Not saying that is a thing. He was definitely... Obviously, everyone is Jack the Ripper that we talk about. But there are a lot of parallels with it, with an unsolved crime, with letters to the press, with this taunting, with this seemingly different MO, again, between different people. So you end up thinking, was this one
multiple
person?
People,
Even the canonical victims, even they have different MOs between them.
Absolutely,
Yeah, it's quite strange. And so, but you just have this person calling and writing and claiming that they are responsible. And that couldn't have been uncommon, because it happens all the time with the press, of people calling in saying, it's me, and I've done this. And I can imagine, 60 years ago, you are looking at people writing in, and there's no way of tracking that or testing it instantly
Well, I mean,
to discredit it.
I mean, that's why originally with some of the earlier letters, the police actually said, we don't believe this when they wrote in with the first cipher and the first letter. The police chief said, "No, it's nonsense. So if you are who you say you are, write in with actual evidence," and they did. And they wrote
that
in.
one,
So I think that's why those particular ones, because the culprit was able to provide more evidence that was not in the public domain, which has made those sort of confirmed as being sort of Zodiac killings.
Yeah.
Because the person who wrote in provided more information that was that was publicly available, whereas the other ones, it's all very circumstantial.
Yes.
It's something that you could have read in the paper and then written in the next day and going, I did that.
Yeah, but you know, serial killers have to start somewhere.
What?
And so it's not always in the most famous, most brutal kind of ones. They probably
Absolutely.
started doing something else, you know, which is terrifying. Quite frankly, they had practice. But
started with podcasts.
with the letters as well, like I do think you could pour over, as people clearly have for many, many years,
Oh, yes.
the phrasing of these letters, all of the ciphers in there, they do just smack to me of someone who is literally trying to mess with you. You can just throw red herrings. Just
Completely.
throw the red herrings down the road, and they are red herrings, and you so want them to mean something else. And people will spend hours trying to assign reason, and when you're trying to do that, you will assign reason
You will absolutely, yeah,
to
definitely.
something that is chaotic and that is chaos personified.
Find meaning. If you want to find meaning, you will find meaning in a way.
Yeah. And people have tried to do it over years and years and years with many of the unsolved murders of kind of like, well, actually, if you look at this, I think, and you can make it all fit. And then you go, no, that's insane. Dagar Ripper. Yeah, as I said in the middle of the episode as well, like, again, why would you stop? If you're a serial killer,
Well,
are
that is one of the big questions.
Are you
yeah.
the anomaly in the group? You know, it's possible. It can happen.
Yeah, I mean, did something happen that they? Yeah, I mean, there's all manner of entirely mundane things that could have happened that left them unable to continue. I don't know. Did they get hit by a car? Did they fall off a ladder?
But then why is someone else writing the letters?
Well, no, but
You know,
so if you were that person, I've killed these 7 people, but now I've had an accident. I can't continue. But you don't want your legacy to fizzle out. So
I see what you mean. Oh, that is very cinematic, Nick.
carry on writing, carry on making these braggadocious claims and things about all these people you have killed and things.
That's very novel work.
It's very very dramatic.
But it could have happened.
It could have happened indeed. So
maybe
there's any number of reasons why they would have been forced. Why they would have stopped killing, because they wanted to would not be one of them, but because they were physically unable to.
That's quite
so
mad.
had something happened that they couldn't do that,
and so when they see any crime that's been committed, they try to claim it.
Claim that
again.
One
I mean, the attention
continue my legacy is completely attention seeking.
But all of the letters were, you know, they are completely attention seeking at the same time as going, I'm going to tell you who I am. No,
but no, not really.
But if you're
I'm going to blow up a bus, but I'm not.
If you have that level of intelligence, you know, it doesn't. It's not a horrible thing to say that. You know, it's like if all the letters and the ciphers were by the same person who committed those murders, they are of a level of intelligence that is significant.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, to be able to to be able to mess with you in that kind of clever way with ciphers that people could solve.
Yeah.
It's quite chilling.
Yeah,
it's quite unsettling.
Yes, absolutely.
And also with a sketch as well, that is a terrified person giving a generic sketch of a person, and now everyone's going, my name is the witch hunt thing, isn't it?
Well, it is, isn't it?
And also, you look a bit like him. Well, he's always been a wrong un.
He's always been weird.
He's always been weird.
He's always been a bit weird.
I would be remiss if I didn't address my outrage from last week about your theory that your theory that I'm just
It
pinning
wasn't
on
my
you.
theory.
Oh, it was a little bit, but yeah, that the
These
Zodiac may have been English was not their first language, And there was writing, but he was a Frenchman. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There was there. He
Okay,
was there.
I made up that bit.
Yeah, yeah. You made up that bit that he was on a bicycle with onions around his neck and cycling along. All the stereotypes were brought in, and someone brilliantly put on Facebook saying about, yes, it could have been the second language, and they're going, if the Zodiac Killer was French and he wrote in his first language, which I think would be like, yeah, that would make it more difficult. That person pointed out he'd be massively easy to find.
It would be narrowing down the suspect pool.
It would be,
that.
apart from in Canada. But in America, it'd be like, well, who speaks French? We? No.
That means
or a French
you're
national.
narrowing it down a lot.
Like, oh, okay, fine, fair enough. That was a better argument than you posed, though, rather than he's trying to be mysterious with his French. He clearly wasn't. Oh God, it's a chilling case. It's a weird one. I feel very conflicted about it. It does sort of feel like there's a lot of discrepancies between even the murders that are assigned to him. Those 7. There's different MOs that are involved. There's different appearances. There's different things all the way along, and all it took was for someone to read one murder in the paper and then go, okay, fine. I'm gonna adopt that personality. I'm gonna pretend it's me to throw the police off the track. It just seems like a lot of red herrings along the way, and what's ended up is a huge number of people died, and no one solved it. And for the people who were on the periphery of apparently the Zodiac's victims, with the police just going, oh yeah, it was a Zodiac. Well, what do you think, people? What do you think of the Zodiac Killer? What do you think of part 2 of our episode, of the continued messages that the police got, of all of the other crimes that are allegedly possibly his catalogue of death? And what do you think of the suspects? Are there other suspects that we've missed, crazy or plausible? Wow. Please tell us what you think. Jump on the comments of this episode. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your musings. But while you do, you simply must mix up the drink without a name.
The drink without a name.
Oh, it's delicious.
It went on a treat, that one.
It did very well.
Yeah.
If you want a twist on a martini, like an orange martini, have that.
I like that a lot.
You knocked it back within about 5 seconds, and I'm worried.
I may even have another one.
Yeah, let's have another one in a second. And talk about more suspects.
Yes, the recipe for the cocktail without a name will be out this evening, so definitely do give it a try. It's damn tasty.
Please do share your thoughts and your feelings about this episode, about any of our episodes on social media. If you don't follow us already, follow us at The Poisonous Cabinet on Instagram, on TikTok, where we're very active. Also talk to us on Facebook. We have a book club on there as well. And please consider joining us on patreon.com/The Poisonous Cabinet to support this show, because every penny helps us do what we do every single week. And leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisonous Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.